I'm Alec. My last name is Zhou, Alec Tseung. I'm from Hong Kong.
What do you do for a living?
So currently, I'm running this small financial advisory firm in Hong Kong. So we have some investors in Hong Kong and China who have been very adventurous and also very optimistic about investing in emerging markets. So basically, we're helping these investors here in Hong Kong and China to look for those investment projects and opportunities in emerging markets.
And how do you deal with change in general?
And any change, honestly, is just difficult. No matter how many self-help books you read, it's gonna be difficult, right? No matter how much advice you ask change professionals, I mean, it's gonna be the personal experience is still difficult, right? But at the end of the day, you get used to it. I mean, I just think we're human beings, right? We're pretty adaptable animals, right? And there's a saying that someone really told me, I think is a good saying that change is always better than no change, right? So no matter what.
Other international experiences in terms of programs.
So I attended college in Hong Kong, but then I did my exchange in Bocconi University in Milan. So again, I'm Italian by heart. So I had the first-hand experience of Italian culture.
How important is networking for you?
Very important, right? Because I can share my experience with you because one of the reasons why I'm doing this I'm running this financial advisory firm here in Hong Kong is because I actually met my partner in Kazakhstan when I was attending a conference back in 2019, yes, in Azerbaijan, so in Baku. So this is how I met her. So yeah, without this sort of network, I would never be able to do what I'm doing now. And we help investors. We help investors invest the money into projects. It's very network based, and it's a very personal relationship. Right? People have to trust you. Our relationship with investors are very much personal relationship. Those people are either people that we have worked with before or people we have known for many years. I mean, the same goes for the projects, right? That when we look for projects, we want to meet the founders of the companies, or we want to meet the people who are in charge of those projects, right? Because one of the reasons why our plan is not doing very well in 2020 is much slower than we expected in 2020 is because we cannot be there in the country, because we're missing the personal touch, right? Because we want to make sure that once we invest in the company, that we can be there on the ground to interact with the person, right? So to build the network, right? Because I think network is something that Zoom can never replace, right? And that's one frustrating thing when we're stuck here in Hong Kong, because we cannot build that intimacy or that network through Zoom, unfortunately, yet. Yeah. That personal touch.
What will you do in the future? Will you balance the two of it, or like the two? So social media and personal touch, or you will just get rid of the social media and go back to your normal life? No, I'm curious.
I think social media is definitely we're not going to stop there. Social media is I think social media is one of the most effective ways of promoting yourself or promoting what you do or promoting your company. Right? So I didn't realize that, I guess, because I didn't really have to promote myself as much, because back before coronavirus, I was still just working the company. Right? So I didn't really have to promote myself or my company because I don't get benefit out of this. Right? But now that we're running our own companies, we don't have a brand name anymore. So back then, before when we were working a company, the difference is, you work for a big company that has a great brand name that doesn't require you to promote, or they have their own communication teams doing all the promoting work on social media. But now that we're running our own companies, small companies, startup companies, that we don't have a brand name. So our brand name is ourselves. Right? So we have to just sort of build that image or build that social network profile, social media profile, as much as we can. So I think social media is going to be indispensable in the future. So, but then we'll still keep meeting people. I don't think social media can replace the personal touch, and I think the personal touch will never replace social media as well. I think both needs are very important for us.
I would like to know if you have a dream with a deadline.
I think by the end of my life, I really like to build something that connects Central Asia and China or Hong Kong, and that connection doesn't just have to be financial connection. Right? So right now we're doing it financially, but that connection doesn't really have to be financial. It could be culturally. It could be It could be It could be in a lot of ways, right? So I think because personally, I don't know why, I've been very interested in that part of history and culture. So I think it has been my sort of lifetime dream to build that connection, to make sure to promote that, and then to also to just to allow people to know that actually the world is much bigger than we thought. The world is the Western world, as people say here in Hong Kong. The Western world is more than just Europe and the USA or Canada. Those sort of developed countries, but there are many emerging countries and emerging markets. They're quite interesting, and they're more than interesting, very interesting. They're very interesting, and they're also full of opportunities as well. We're willing to pursue that. Yeah.
What do you think is missed in the communication, in the knowledge from the side of the world, the emerging countries that you are mentioning? What are we not considering?
I think there are probably two dimensions, right? So first one is comfort zone, is because like if you were born in Europe, or if you're born in Western Europe, if you're born in Hong Kong, or if you're born in USA, you don't necessarily have to go there, right? Because everything is so good. Everything is kind of taken care of in your own country. You don't have to go there. There's no upside for you to go there. That's one. And then the second thing is then also, I think it's not easy, right, to live there, for example, because things are very different. For example, for me to go to Italy, for example, I mean, Italy is a great country, right? But still, things are very different things in Italy are very different from things in Hong Kong, and you can imagine how difficult it is to go to a emerging country where there's no system, right? So, yeah, and many people, they're not comfortable with the way of lives when there's no system, right? I mean, and I do understand I do know that there are people who are quite comfortable with that, because when there's no system, then you can actually create a system. But then, yeah, that's the positive side, right? But many people, they don't see that, or they're not comfortable with that, so they want to live in a life that's more organized, and that has a better system. Yeah.
So thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed.
Of course, yeah, of course.